Today I want to talk about the life of Archbishop Marcel Lefebvre. Archbishop Lefebvre was a major person in a role in helping with the Catholic Church in the about from the 40s until his death in 91. He was very integral in keeping a lot of traditional things about the church, like the Mass, which at the time was done in Latin, and then was switched to being spoken in the local vernacular in the 60s, keeping things like the Latin Mass alive and other traditional things that the church followed before 1962. He is a testament to standing in your faith and what you believe, no matter the obstacles that is being put in your way. And one of the things he said, there is no law, no jurisdiction which can impose on us lessening our faith. I want to talk about and just celebrate the life that he lived, the good and the bad as some people might see, but just showing how he was steadfast in what he believed and how important that can be for us and the example that he sets. First off, I want to talk about his life as a priest and an archbishop. He was born in Tourcoing, France in 1905 to a very Catholic household, with a lot of his siblings going on to either serving in the church in some way, either as a sister or also as priest and other bishops. From then he would go to seminary where he would get his doctorates in philosophy and theology, and from there he would go serve in Libreville, Gabon, which is in Central Africa, doing a lot of missionary work there, and then also just doing a lot of things for the community. He was helping build schools, build hospitals, introducing the Catholic press, which was one of the first modern printing presses at the time, which this was in the 40s. Sadly, his parents who still lived in Europe at the time were killed in concentration camps by the Nazis during World War II. However, that would not deter him, as he would still live his life out and his faith steadfast in Africa, doing, as I said, a lot of missionary work. He would then, in the 60s, be called up to help review papers for Vatican II, and everything that would be presented to the bishops, or a lot of the things from there that he was reading that were going to be presented at the time he disagreed with. So this was one of the first instances of him being at opposition of the church. Still supporting the church and everything, but disagreeing with things that they were wanting to introduce. So then we get to post-Vatican II, where he would go to Switzerland to start his own seminary. He would start a seminary in 1969. It wouldn't get fully approved until 1970, however, but from there we would get the priestly fraternity of St. Pius X, which, for context, St. Pius X was a priest in the early 1900s who, kind of similar with Archbishop Lefebvre, was very steadfast in withholding the tradition and traditional values of the church at the time. From there, he and 12 other theologians would write to Pope John VI and criticizing and examining the new Mass, which one of the major differences with the new Mass was that it was spoken in the local vernacular, which, so if you go to a Catholic church nowadays, the majority of them are going to be spoken in the local vernacular compared to the traditional Latin Mass, which was obviously one of the differences done in Latin. Also, a lot of changes were done the Mass, taking things out that were in the original Mass that are not in the new Mass. So he was in opposition to a lot of those things, and this would lead him to starting the Society of St. Pius X, where, as I said, it was a priesthood fraternity. They started building churches, and it would get pretty big. It moved internationally, being established in places like the United States, across Europe, and in South America. It was in 1988 in Brazil that, as Archbishop Lefebvre come to find out, was diagnosed with cancer, and not knowing how much longer he had, him and one other person, the only bishops, decided to consecrate 4 more bishops. For more context, you have to have Roman approval from Rome to consecrate bishops, and he did not, so therefore he got excommunicated, and the 4 other bishops. And then in 1991 he would pass away, but in 2009 the excommunications would be lifted. And the SSPX today still has over 600,000 members and is in more than 60 countries and in 38 of the 50 states. And Archbishop Lefebvre's steadfastness in his faith and everything is a testament that if you truly believe in what you're doing, you can take on anybody, and I think that is good words to live by, that even outside of a religious context, a lot of people can agree with and take and learn from. Thank you for your time.